Hello. This is a video and a podcast about how a regular Qigong practice has impacted my life. And I'm giddy about it because I really do love this stuff. From what I understand, I would say I have been practicing regular Qigong, I'd say every other day for a little over a year now. And from what I understand, Qigong, it translates to energy practice. To be clear, I don't know if any of this stuff makes any sense at all. I don't know if if it is scientific. I don't know if this is proven that this stuff even makes any sense. I don't know if it's real. All I know is that I have practiced it and I have received tremendous benefit from it. So this is me sharing it with you because I legitimately think you should probably try it. I have 4 different ways that Qigong has impacted my life in really positive ways. But first, before I do that, I want to just tell you just really briefly what, like the kind of too long didn't read version, TLDR version of this, of how Qigong's impacted me. And then I want to do a 5-minute little Qigong thing and then go into the other details. So if you're about to hop out right now and you just want to know what he's talking about, long story short, Qigong has been about kind of refreshing and resensitizing the feelings in my body, the subtle feelings of ease and bliss. I think that everything that I do is to get to a certain feeling in life, like kind of achieve a certain experience so that it can then create to me a certain feeling inside. It's kind of like the way that humans operate, it seems. I want to have this so I can feel this. I want to achieve this so I can feel this. I want to have this person or this lover or this accomplishment or this vacation or something so that I can feel a certain thing. And to me, Qigong, the byproduct of these practices that I'm about to show you, have slowly started to cultivate inside a space that feels really blissful. Probably hear the birds this morning. Really blissful, really tranquil, really energized in a way that makes the external value placed on those things diminish pretty significantly in a way that feels like a settling. And what's really cool, and I'll talk about this more in a second, is that at the same time that it's diminished my, for lack of better words, desperation for those external circumstances to warrant that internal state, it's at the same time it had such a positive impact on my energy that it has energized me to pursue my goals with a really strong energy source. So, okay. A little, maybe a few minutes, couple minute little Qigong practice here. If you've never done Qigong, follow along. And if you have done Qigong, welcome back, my friend. I recommend that you, this is a practice taken directly from Jonathan White. So if you want to go check him out, check him out. How you're going to do this, and I hope the bird is not annoying. The bird probably adds a great sound to the audio. Sitting in a chair comfortably, taking a moment to check in. Feet on the ground, and just settle in here with me for a minute. Let's just start there. Just taking a moment to settle, maybe allow your shoulders to kind of relax. Allow the elbows to hang heavy. Your hands maybe comfortably resting in your lap or atop your thighs. Here. And let's just pay attention to our breathing. We're not really trying to control it in any type of way. We're just being mindful of it. And if you're in a space you can follow along, I'd really encourage you to, because this is good shit. Just noticing how the body settles in, how it naturally wants to kind of settle in your chair. I recommend that you stomp your feet, maybe just kind of pedal your feet on the ground, Maybe pedal your heels on the ground, just to kind of get a little bit of some vibration going on the feet, some sensitivity going on the feet, some feeling going on the feet. And I do recommend that you do this practice with your eyes closed. And if you're driving, good luck. You know your way home. Trust it, man. Trust it, man. So we're just settling in here and being mindful of our breath. Now, let's tune into the breath a little bit more, and then we'll add one more layer to it, and then we'll kind of back out of this. Feel where your breath is landing in your body. Is your chest rising and falling? That's not what we want to do here. The chest, we don't want to rise and fall, big chest. We want to keep the chest rather relaxed, and we're trying to fill the belly with breath. Like if you had a pair of pants that was buttoned, but just barely. And if you breathed in deep enough, you could shoot the button across the room. You know, that's your big belly breath. That's what you want. Let's go a few of those big belly breaths here. Not so much that you're like really pulling in a lot of air, but just that the air that is coming in naturally just kind of fills the bottom of your belly. Now, the pelvic floor and the middle column, all of the spine, is the central part, the deepest part of your nervous system. So I'm going to talk about that just for a second. This isn't an inherently sexual thing, although I'm referencing kind of your sexual centers here. The pelvic floor, the anus, relax that as you're continuing this breath practice. So we're still just allowing the breath to pull into the lower abdomen. And as you do this, this is a really subtle shift that helps me to center my awareness into my lower abdomen, my pelvic floor, and really relax deeply to the bottom of that center column of my body, which is the perineum, the anus, the pelvic floor. Again, this is not a sexual practice. This is about relaxing into the depth of that center column of the body. Here's the thought here. Relax the pelvic floor. When you breathe in in a way that if you were urinating, it would increase the flow of urine. It would kind of strengthen the flow of urine. That's how you want to breathe in through the pelvic floor, almost like it kind of balloons the bottom of your pelvic floor, your anus, all of that soft tissue. It kind of swells a little bit. It's very, very subtle. It's extremely subtle, but it's there. It's happening. If you're breathing deeply enough into the abdomen, there's kind of a bulging out of the pelvis or the pelvic tissues of sorts. Okay, one last thing here. Pay attention to your feet, my friend. Maybe a little bit more of a foot stomp. And I want you to be, kind of play around with this idea here. This is kind of the entry point that I learned. And this did pretty much nothing for me the first time I did it, to be honest. But here's the kind of spiel. Relax your feet really deeply into the floor. And imagine as if when you inhale, imagine that you're pulling in air through the bottom of your feet. Again, this is not scientific. It's not like actually happening. You're not going to be breathing through your feet, but there's this intention to soften and absorb through the bottom of the feet. If everything is energy and there's not really like a clear physical boundary, it's more of an energetic cluster of atoms, then the idea that we're kind of mixing with our environment isn't too far out. And if breathing isn't quite the frame here, just soften the feet as if to receive the ground. So, if there's force from a physics perspective, your force of your feet pushing down on the ground, there's an equal and opposite force coming up. So just kind of soften into that upward force. Just allow that upward force to push up against you. And a couple more breaths here, just softening the feet. Almost like every inhale, like breathing hot air on an ice cube, just kind of melts it. Every inhale, every exhale, just slowly has those tissues melt a little more, a little bit more of an opening, a softening. And okay, so that is kind of like just a taste of some Qigong stuff. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. So let's talk about the 4 different ways this practice impacted my life. The first one, maybe as you noticed, Qigong is Qigong is very blissful and grounding just within the practice. It really is something that I think, like, hear me on this, my friend. If you had never tried meditation, and you just sat and tried it, and you're like, okay, all right, close my eyes, meditate. Okay. Yeah, I get it. Close your eyes, peace. Okay, yeah, I get it. Close your eyes, tranquility. Yeah, I get it. It's calm, it's quiet. There's a depth to it. And the depth is something that is cultivated. There's a depth to the tranquility. There's a depth to the stillness, the presence. And that depth is carved out with time and 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 time. And so you do get it at a taste, but you really receive it on a deeper level the longer that you do it, the more time you accumulate doing it. And so this Qigong thing, what it has felt like for me is this softening of the body, kind of like that feeling of softening the feet. It's slowly and subtly and subtly and subtly in a way that's compounded, created this experience of really nice bliss. It's like this deep, energetic exchange with the environment. Almost like all of the body, especially the lower body, is really porous. And as you inhale, it's like absorbing liquid into the body. And as you exhale, it exhales, or it kind of expunges that liquid. Starting with the feet, that's where I learned with Jonathan White. Starting with the feet, then you kind of do the same practice through the anus, almost like it's kind of funny, but almost like you're pulling in energy, pulling in air through the anus. As you inhale, exhale through the feet and anus. Funky shit. I'm not saying this stuff is sexual. This is like a practice with the energy centers in the body, the pelvic floor being one. The first way that Qigong has impacted my life is it's so blissful. Like, this experience doing Qigong is so nice and grounding. One of my favorite things to do, seriously, is to just get absolutely barbecued. Just get absolutely stoned to the gills and do some Qigong. I don't do Qigong high every time. I don't think that's a good thing to do, because I think the practice needs to be cultivated in and of itself. And if you only do it high, then it's like, the feeling that the practice is like legitimately helpful in and of its own accord kind of diminishes. But once you do have some of that feeling of softening and you're kind of like curious about it, you're like, that's weird. I feel genuinely like my body is softening and relaxing and opening. Then do it high. It's great. So first, Qigong is grounding and blissful within the practice. It's just such a nice thing to do. The second thing is this practice extends into my daily living and gives me much better emotional regulation. I feel that the plumbing in my body is flowing more freely. This practice has started in the chair, started at the house, and is extended into my daily living. I have wore worn sandals for probably the last year and a half, which I'm not sure how that scores for the dating that I'm doing, because one girl that I dated, she was like, we were hitting it off and everything, and she was like, so how committed are you to the sandals? I was like, very. Very. Jesus wore sandals, It's really impacted the way that I move in my day-to-day living. The sandals is a big part. Like, I take the shoes off, I take the sandals off often just to kind of dip my toes in the earth, feel the ground. If I'm in a place, if I'm having a conversation with someone, often I'm just kind of, slipping them bad boys off and just kind of putting the toes on the ground, putting the feet on the ground, and just doing the same practice, softening the feet. I can't tell you how awesome this has been. You've got to try it for yourself and do it a lot. It's helped so much in regulating my emotional state in those moments, with whether it's a tense, like a really important conversation with a client, or if it's a really important conversation with a staff member, or if it's a, kind of a charged conversation with, a potential partner or a mate. Mate sounds funny, like a Nat Geo thing. He finds his mate in the coffee shop. And one thing for me specifically as a man, conversation with other men. There's a tendency in my conversation with men, and I would think it's probably similar with people just in general when they're like faced with someone who's kind of a member of their own personal, what would you call it? Like just a gender or sex. There's kind of a tendency to kind of stand your ground, bow up in a way, and resist their dominance. I found just the softening has been impactful in that way, in a way that allows me to soften into the moment, even when talking with other men. It's really nice. And also, I genuinely feel as if the conscious, intentional breath work of the deep pelvic floor breathing, the deep belly breathing, the softening the feet, feeling as if my body is inhaling and exhaling as one whole unit. I think that the time spent consciously doing that has reworked the way that I subconsciously breathe. I find myself breathing now much more into my belly, in my pelvic floor. And here's the cool thing is if you do breath work or Qigong, then it's likely that you feel different afterwards. It's likely that you leave feeling a little bit, kind of like the shampoo commercials when they move their hair around like that, and it kind of just like flails behind them. Like you feel like a dragon just swimming through a cloud. Like you feel nice. It's like a nice feeling. You feel refreshed. If anything, you feel the way you feel when you get misted with water on a hot summer's day. It's really just like a nice feeling. Or like after a good massage or an orgasm. These are great feelings. So that feeling, go with me here, is a byproduct of the breath in the body. So if you could shift the way you breathe on a day-to-day basis as a byproduct of practicing it kind of more and with a lot more focus, then you essentially can shift the state of your consciousness throughout the day, because your breath has changed. If your breath is kind of tethered to the consciousness, the way you breathe affects your consciousness, then if you change the way you breathe on a daily basis, then you're likely to change your consciousness on a daily basis. And that's what I've experienced. I genuinely, just another note here, I genuinely think this has helped me in just my entire living in terms of being conscious with my behaviors, because I think that because the breath and the body impacts the consciousness, if I breathe real shallow in my chest and kind of clench down and kind of tense up, and kind of get my mind into a hamster wheel, that's like attached to a certain type of breathing pattern. Versus if I breathe like that deep, really receptive, peaceful, grounded breath, then it impacts the way that I feel, which impacts the way that I feel in my mind, which is impacting the way that I think. And because it changed the way I think, I've changed the decisions I make. So big ups on that. Lots of positivity there. Two more things. This one's really cool. Doing Qigong regularly has impacted the general sensitivity of my body. General sensitivity to body's energy. I'm more energy conscious as a result of the practice. Sorry, my Mac just went off. We'll make sure I'm still recording. Yes, we are. Okay. More energy conscious. General sensitivity to the body's energy. I'm more energy conscious as a result of the practice. Yeah. Energy is interesting. And what I'm finding is that energy is a hell of a resource. One thing that's kind of run parallel to this Qigong practice is a lessening use of caffeine. I don't know how long it's been since I pretty much cut out caffeine. Yes, I do. It's been about 4 months or so since I've cut out caffeine as a regular part of my life. I've had, I would say probably like on average, I probably have like a fourth a cup of coffee every week. That's probably true. Fourth a cup of coffee. The rest is just decaf. And I also sleep 7 hours a night, every night. Damn, do I try to get 7 hours of sleep every night. And paying attention to the way that my behaviors impact my energy levels. It's just like, doing the Qigong stuff really gets you close to your energy. It makes you feel your energy in your body. And it's really nice. And then you feel when things throw that off. And so what happened was, as I did more Qigong, caffeine started to kind of like push me too much in my mind. My energy started to feel much more regulated and much more stable, and the caffeine made it feel frantic and scattered, which is new for me because I've always used caffeine. I've always drank lots of coffee, like 2-3 cups a day. And so I think there was like a shift in the baseline of my energy in my body that then caused the caffeine to be a little bit too much. So I think that's pretty cool. And then the rest has been really helpful too. The rest in terms of sleeping. Last thing, I got to talk about how this has impacted my sexual experience. You know what podcast you're listening to, my friend. Welcome back. It's impacted my sexual experience tremendously, in a wonderful way. That state, that energetic state of being grounded, feels as if it creates the space for really erotic, sexy dynamics to spring forth. This is like a practice that John Wineland proposes in his book From the Core. Next time you're within the vicinity of your lover, your partner, really breathe deeply, deep into your belly. Feel your feet on the ground. And let me shut this so that way you're not getting too much of this dog barking. Okay. We're back with a quieter dog, or with no dog. That deep breathing really sets up a space. So relax the feet, breathe deeply into the belly, relax the pelvic floor. That's kind of my interjection from the Jonathan White stuff. John Wineland just talks about feel your feet on the ground, breathe deeply, and when you look at your lover, expand your eyes, not like a chameleon, but like really take her in like you would like a starry sky, at night. And contemplate how much she would do for her, how much I love her, what I would do for her, and feel that in the body. And just sense how it shifts the energy in the room. In my experience, it's been tangible. In my experience, it is like it creates a dynamic in the room that is teeming with erotic energy. And all that it is just a deepening of the body. Like being like having a date with your partner or the person or your significant other or you're interested with or interested in. Just try what happens when you just settle more. Settle into the chair, maybe not be so much everywhere. Settle in, settle the feet, maybe slip them bad boys off and find the ground, and relax the pelvic floor, and just be mindful of breathing and relaxing your feet. And just behold the beauty you have for the person in front of you. And my friend, have a good time, because I think that will start something that you will very happily finish. So that's one thing. The other thing is just the practice within the sexual experience, back to the sensitivity. What Qigong has done so much for me is resensitized my body. And in sex, it's all feeling. It's all feeling. And what's really, really important here, what I do want to touch on faux show, is yes, it's a physical feeling. Sex is a physical feeling. There's physical sensations, but like my good friend Alex Say inspires me to do, go deeper. Yes, there's the physical sensations of pleasure, and boy, are those fun. I mean, I'm still very excited about a lot of the ways of which I'm learning to unlock and experience and circulate pleasure in my body, which is so wonderful. At the same time, there's a deeper experience going on within the sexual experience with another person that is connection, union. There's like a sense of bliss that is the feeling of separateness being unified, like dualism being extinguished, like, there is only one. That's what nirvana is. That's what, just ecstatic bliss is like, oh, all things are one. And what I'm trying to say is, bro, if you just relax when you're having sex, if you just take these Qigong practices into the sexual experience and relax the body, then I have found that here's the kicker, boom, boom, 2 parts. 1, the sensations are so much different from a physical level, like these just rolling pleasure streams, and from a energetic, emotional level, it's more receptive. It's like I feel this just sense of enjoyment in the body, like hot steam that just moves through the body and kind of like hot balloons the head. It's like, whoa, very nice. All these feelings are subtle and are accessible through Qigong. To me, it's like Qigong trains the palate that daily living, good coffee, a nice breeze, a beautiful scent, good sex, all of those things stimulate the senses from a physical perspective and from an energetic perspective. And my friend, Qigong will help that. They'll help develop the sensitivity to enjoy the full spectrum. And what's really cool here is sensitivity is the real unlock here, not intensity. I've talked about that in some of the episodes here. Sensitivity in sexuality is so helpful. So the first thing is the sensitivity. The second thing is the circulation. Like for me, as a young man, I always thought sensitivity was the enemy. You don't want to be sensitive because then you come too quick. I remember when I was a kid, I used to jerk off and count to see how long I could count until I, it was like the longer I could go, the better without, and what would I do? I'd be like thinking about, crayons or fucking math problems or my grandma's armpit or just like anything, like a dead dog, like anything to just keep my mind off it and just try to last. And that's not good. That's like being kept alive through life support. Like, yeah, you're living, but you're not really experiencing anything. So the goal is not to just numb yourself to long-term or long stamina, not at all. It's to feel everything so deeply and also be able to spread it out. So like instead of it just congregating towards the groin and causing an ejaculatory response, instead just be able to breathe it in and circulate it. And that, what Qigong is really, is practicing learning to access and feel through the body how energy moves throughout the body in a way that you can intend to move it. That shit's wild, and I know that's just way out there, and if you're just listening to this because you're slightly interested, then that sounds like some stuff. And it is, to be honest with you. It is like that. There's no way to talk about it that doesn't kind of sound like some using the force type stuff. But to be honest with you, it's been great. It's been great, and it's impacted me tremendously. So, finishing note. This is helpful to add. I often don't want to do the practice. I really don't. It's like something I need to do, you know. I do it every other day for about 15 to 20 minutes. It's not something that I look forward to doing, but it's something I'm really grateful for the effects, and because of that, I continue doing it. I do look forward to it sometimes. I do generally like, oh, sit down and do some Qigong, especially if I'm really high. But generally speaking, it's like end of the day, I just want to go to sleep. And I'm like, I probably should do that Qigong practice. So sit 15 minutes, breathe through the feet, breathe through the anus, relax the pelvic floor, circulate the energy, breathe down the front of the body, breathe in, circulate, and by the end, I'm like, that was nice, and go to bed. It seems like a practice. It's like stretching. It's not something I'm like super jazzed about doing every day, but I do it, my friend. And I'm here to say, I think you should do it too. Okay, 4 different ways Qigong has impacted my life in a positive way. Thank you for listening to this, and if you have any questions or want to talk about this, you know where to find me.